Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chris. I wanted to make one more video and answer a couple of questions that I've been getting and explain my reasons for what I do as far as my quote-unquote investments. I've been getting some people, and I'm not about to mention names or anything because it's not about that, but they were telling me about how you should invest in this paper stock or this particular thing because you can make some money on it. Um, I don't invest in any paper assets, and I won't. Even if somebody told me, they called me up on the phone today and said, I can guarantee tomorrow you'll make $10,000 on this paper investment. I won't do it, and I'm going to explain why. Because first of all, I'm going to tell people, if you invest in things like the paper market, like stocks and all those other things, you can make money. This is not a debate. I'm not sitting here saying that if you invest in stocks and all these other kind of paper assets, like the SLD and the GLD, that you won't make money. You absolutely can, and smart investors do. But here's why I won't do it, and this is why people should not do it. Because, first of all, the physical price of gold and silver is determined based on the paper market. Now, if you don't know that the paper market and people like JP Morgan Chase and other banks manipulate the paper market price, there's nothing I can do to convince you you're going to believe in whatever you want to believe. There are lawsuits going on right now against places like JP Morgan because they've been caught in manipulation of other particular paper things. This isn't about making money. You have to realize, if you play the criminal game, you are helping the system stay alive. People need to understand that. So the people that are disappointed in the silver and gold prices, well, the reason that they are so low is the fact that the paper game, which is still being played by people who make money, continually allow the system to continue. So until we all start looking at ourselves in the mirror and we really start understanding the situation as a whole, we are ultimately responsible for what the environment is giving us. Just like the people that we vote into power only get away with what they get away with because we look the other way, or we make up excuses, or we buy into their lies. But we, the people, allow them to stay in power. So they may be corrupt, but we are responsible for it because we choose to do nothing. Some people say we can't do something. We absolutely can. It's all about unity. So here's the thing, and why I will never, especially now with what I know, will never invest in stocks, will never invest in any get-rich-quick schemes. I will not help feed the system. And I know there are going to be plenty of people that are angry about that because they don't want to know about looking into themselves and seeing what they're ultimately doing is causing the demise of the country and potentially the world. I mean, I'll give you a prime example. The futures contracts. Let's say somebody has inside information on corn or soybeans or wheat or some other kind of food commodity, and you notice that it's going up higher and higher, and you're making plenty of money. Well, think about what you're doing. You are, because you're betting on the futures of something, that raises the prices of that food. So somewhere around the world, a third world nation is now being outpriced of being able to afford to buy the basic necessities in life and could go without food. So you'll make money, and the media and the government and the people you're investing from will never show you the other side of the cause and effect of what you're doing, but you're ultimately potentially destroying other families. And that's where people really have to understand something, how the world really works. If we continue to use our own greed and our own ability to help ourselves and don't look at the big picture is what damages the self eventually. Because the problem is most people say, well, if I don't know about it, it's not happening. That's why the news media doesn't talk about all the things that are going on in Europe and all the problems around the world and third world nations, and how for companies and corporations like Walmart to be able to sell you a $19 DVD player, that they have to invade another country, they have to kill thousands of people to be able to take and steal their properties of value. and get child labor and cheap labor. Why do you think all of the jobs are now overseas, like in China? It's because it's cheaper. So they exploit those people, knowing that they can pay them less, so we can reap those benefits. But yet we lose jobs. People can't invest money. It's a vicious cycle. So my thing is, people have to start taking responsibility. This is not about making money. It shouldn't be that way, because if your goal in life is to get the most paper dollars that you can, and you don't care who it destroys, then there's something that you have to look inside yourself. And this is not about judgment. This is about understanding that what one individual can do can eventually affect the whole world. Because one person will sit there and say, I can't do a thing. And then another person will sit there and say the same thing. Then 100 people will say the same thing. Then 1,000. Then millions of people will all sit there by themselves saying, I can't do a thing. Now just imagine if they were all united. That would change in an instant. But the problem is, the powers that be know that the average person uses emotion to handle their everyday situations. And when it comes to the emotion of greed, they will feed off of those people, knowing that they sprinkle a little bit down on the people, and they'll bite every time. So while the average investor out there that is watching this type of video is making anywhere from a couple of thousand to maybe a couple of 100,000, they're making billions off of everyone. Until we fix the corruption, it's not going to change, and it's going to get worse. Because let me ask people who choose to just do things for themselves, and I understand why they do it. Obviously, the first thing in life is self-preservation, so I understand that. But this is a world of people, not person. If there was one person on the planet, then sure, you could do everything for yourself, and you'd be the ultimate consequence and benefit of what you do. But what one person can do can affect everyone. It's like a set of dominoes. You have dominoes that are each one individual piece. But if you line them up correctly and you only knock one of them down, they take out everyone else in that line. We have to understand. And that is why I don't go in the paper market. Because you can make money. You can make quick money. But I don't want to invest in a corrupt system and say to them that it's okay, keep doing it. As long as I make my money, I don't mind that you're stealing from the poor, that you're making third world nations starve, that you're killing jobs. I mean, let me ask you something. Since you've been a child to the time you are now, have things gotten better? Look at the last video I made. For 50 cents, you could buy a pair of shoes. You could buy 4 gallons of gas and still have 2 cents left over. What can you buy? How much does it cost for 4 gallons of gas now? 50 cents, well, actually 48 cents bought you 4 gallons of gas in 1910, 3 years before the Federal Reserve was created. 4 gallons now will cost you about $16 on average. People need to understand. I understand that people want to make money. But here's the thing. Sometimes in life you have to take a step back to make 2 steps forward. And that's why this economy, and that's why the government will continue to raise the debt ceiling, print more money, because they're kicking the problem down the road. And our children or grandchildren will be feeling the effects, just like we're feeling the effects of what our parents and grandparents decided to kick down their road. It's not getting better. Prices are not getting lower. Things are not getting easier. Jobs are not getting better. Payment is not getting better. It's because we decide to say, well, as long as I can make a little bit of a piece of that pie, I'll look the other way. And you will make money, but you will be paying more. They will be taking your taxes. Because back in 1910, the average income taxes that were taken from the people was 1%. Don't you wish you'd only have 1% of your income taken away from the federal tax now? They're stealing your money. They're taking away programs, benefits. They're threatening Social Security. You notice how the president, when he's talking about the fiscal cliff, says things like, well, we can't guarantee things like Social Security if the fiscal cliff, if we go over it. Why don't they say things like, oh, all the government officials will take all of their money? Or how about all those CEOs that they stole our money from to pay for and they're too big to fail? They don't threaten the people that are in the club. So stop feeding the system. I know a lot of people are not going to like that because it's going to attack the very thing that they're doing. Well, sometimes you got to look inside yourself and say, do I want to do the greedy thing, the quick thing, or the right thing? So most people will not like what I'm saying because it's not resonating with them because they are motivated in self-preservation. I want self-preservation too, but I will also want everybody else to have that same thing and that same right and that same ability. Not just me. People overseas that I'll never meet in my lifetime. Children that are going hungry while fat cats on Wall Street are riding around in Lear jets. You got to look at the big picture, and that's why I'm investing in physical silver. And I'm not doing it to get rich. I'm doing it to prepare myself to save my wealth so I have something to live on when the criminals up above steal more and more to the point there's nothing left to have. So be careful, guys, and be careful what you wish for. You might get it. Keep investing in the corrupt system, but don't complain how bad the system gets and how unfair it is when they steal everything from you and say, sorry. Stop feeding the system. Stop feeding the giant. And you'll understand that we have to take a step back to be able to be 10 steps forward. But we're not willing to do that because people are ultimately afraid. I'm not afraid. I don't live in fear. I'm prepared for whatever it takes. I want to do the right thing. How about you? To everybody out there, peace.